Hello everyone. We are going to discuss the topic of diversity management and inclusive policies and in what way they are creating value for corporate social responsibility. So first of all, you can see on this slide there are different sources of diversity management. So it is just a small appetizer. You can see, yes, we can do it. So that is gender diversity. That is about, of course, stereotypes. The generation gap, so we can see that there are also differences among the different generations, race, ethnicity, handicap, and so on. So the outline of this course is to give you an overview of the objectives, to show you also what are we talking about, what are the different sources of diversity at the workplace, how can diversity create value to an organization? What are the different obstacles of diversity management? And then also I give you an overview of different diversity tools, and I will focus a little bit on the French context. And of course, in the end, we're going to conclude. So what are the objectives? The objectives is really to discuss the impact of diversity management and inclusion in creating value for an organization. We are going to appreciate also the strategic challenges facing human resources management and in terms of diversity and inclusion. So first of all, what are we talking about? So what does diversity and inclusion mean? So I would say in the 60s, we started to talk about equal employment opportunities. That was mainly in the US. In the 70s, there was this, let's say, strand of affirmative action policies. And since more than 30 years, we can see that the US and in the Anglo-Saxon world, companies are dealing with diversity and inclusion. In comparison to that, in France, I would rather say it's since about 10 years. So we try to implement the principle of equality of chances and then also no discrimination and, of course, diversity and inclusion. So on this slide, you can see further on that there is a definition of diversity and inclusion. Of course, we can find a lot of different definitions out there. So the concept of diversity encompasses acceptance and respect. So I think it is very important to put it in a context and to understand that really each individual is unique and we try to get the best out of people, with the overall objective to provide a safe and a positive and a nurturing working environment. So there are benefits for the organization, benefits for the employees, but also benefits for the society. As I said, there are many different definitions out there. I put here one of them on the slide. What are the different sources of diversity in the workplace? So we have also a lot of different sources, ways of thinking, religious beliefs. So just to state a few of them, our appearance, gender, age, nationality, and so on. So you can find other sources here on this slide. To move on, what is the benefit or what are potential benefits for organizations that engage in diversity management? So first of all, I would say that probably organizations that are more in an, let's say, defensive attitude, they first of all would like to be conform with the legal framework, so to respond to the legal obligations. Then there is also to prevent the risk of loss of reputation and of image, because of course it would be detrimental for a company or for an organization if there are negative statements in the press and so on. Then next comes the approach CSR, so the approach corporate social responsibility that goes along with no discrimination and this ethical imperative for equal opportunities. Another, let's say, focus would be to be able to better manage human resources. So to optimize human resources management, to have the right person at the right place with the right competences. Studies also show that employees are really very proud of their company. So if they are, if the company is not just making profits, but the company is also getting engaged in different, let's say, actions, and one of these could be CSR and diversity management. There is also to prevent the shortage of qualified labor, talent management, and, for example, also to provide an inclusive working environment. And then, of course, it will be also beneficial for the image of a company. So nowadays, we often talk about employer branding. Last but not least, we need to cite, of course, the famous business case for diversity. So this would mean that we can increase the overall performance of an organization. For example, it is said that companies are, let's say, more innovative if they have people from different backgrounds in their teams. So many studies confirm that. It's also to be able to respond to the expectations of different customers or to gain new markets. But why are some, let's say, organizations reluctant? Why do they not want to dig deeper into this subject? You know, there are, first of all, let's say I would cite stereotypes, because stereotypes are in our unconsciousness and they are part also of the organizational culture. And many organizations now, they try to fight against different types of stereotypes. The cultural resistance, so also some companies, they do not want to change, so there is no need also for change. It is also said that if top management does not stand up for the value of diversity, it doesn't bring anything. And another point would also be that it is difficult to, let's say, promote diversity in the workplace if the economic situation of a company is not the best. So in terms of restructuring, so this could be also one point. And sometimes also we say it's a too risky approach because we can, in a way, calculate what it costs for an organization, but we are not so sure about what it really brings. And many, of course, decision makers would like to know, what does it bring to my company? So you have a lot of different tools, like you can see here on this slide. So first of all, there is the legal framework that has to be accepted and implemented by many organizations. You have, for example, also company agreements on diversity. You have the GLPT charter here in France. That means that companies can also sign this charter to show that they are providing safe and also good working environment and inclusive working environment for all employees. Numerical targets, also some companies, they are giving some figures. For example, a company like Renault can say, okay, for 2015, we would like to hire 30% of engineers in this area. And on the next slide, you can see that there are also other, let's say, tools like coaching or mentoring programs, training and development, employee resource groups, networks, and so on. And the last point I would like to mention is, of course, work-life balance, because this is also part of diversity management policies. So to conclude, we can see that diversity is definitely an important, let's say, topic in the organizational world. Companies can benefit, organizations can benefit, employees can benefit. So it's really a win-win situation. Companies can benefit because they can probably gain a competitive advantage. We also know that employees are a key resource for many organizations, especially in the knowledge industry. And employees are also a key stakeholder in corporate social responsibility. Employees, they will gain because they also have, for example, expectations towards corporate behavior, and it is important that they are able to contribute in a fair and nurturing working environment. Many thanks.